These big cats can seem cute, almost cuddly, but on the savannah, they're nature's most feared creatures. Iconic kings of the beasts they may be, but today their populations are dwindling because of humans. As I continue my journey in Africa to photograph endangered wildlife, I find out why these majestic animals are in such sharp decline. Wildlife is under threat like never before. Man-made climate change, habitat loss and illegal poaching are devastating the world's environments. We've lost half the animal species on the planet in the last 40 years, and all large marine life could become extinct by 2050. I'm Sean Lee-Davies, a photographer, filmmaker and conservationist with a passion for adventure. I've photographed some of Asia's most glamorous celebrities, and now I'm turning my camera on nature's true beauty. I'm out to showcase the glory of the natural world and raise critical awareness about poaching and exploitation. Join me on Adventures to the Edge. The noble lion. Along with the elephant, the lion is probably Africa's most iconic species. Throughout history, lions have been a symbol of royalty, power and courage, and have been idolized for centuries in cultures across the world. For good reason, they've become known as the king of beasts. Yet today, lions face an uncertain future. Perhaps more than any other endangered species, the lion faces possible extinction in the wild due to what's known as human-wildlife conflict. In the 1950s, there were over 500,000 roaming free in Africa. Today, it's estimated there are only about 25,000 left in the wild. Lions are not only magnificent to behold, but they are essential to the ecosystem by keeping larger herbivores in check as the top predator. But human population growth across Africa means more and more land is being turned over for crops and livestock. So when lions attack for food, locals and tribesmen retaliate by wiping out entire prides. Hunting for sport is also on the rise, highlighted by the death of Cecil the lion, who drew global attention when he was killed by an American trophy hunter earlier this year. I'm on a journey to produce a fine art photography exhibition to raise awareness about the continued threats to wildlife around the world. I want to capture the true majesty of lions in their natural habitat, so I head to Mana Pools in Zimbabwe, one of the best places in Africa to get close to wild lions. I'm out with Ruben, a seasoned guide at Goliath Safaris, who spots some lion tracks.
You see them clearly. Look at these. These are lion cubs here. And this is the mother here. You see the difference in between the two?
Sure.
This is bigger. These are smaller ones. That means it's fresh.
If you need me to smell them out, you can ask me. I can smell.
Can you smell them?
Yeah.
All right.
I just go this way. Just follow me. We're about to set off on foot when Stretch Ferreira arrives. Owner of Goliath Safaris, Stretch is a 25-year veteran safari guide and something of a legend in Zimbabwe. Stretch is also an expert tracker with a unique ability to get up close to some of Africa's wildest creatures and on foot. Finally, we see them, a small pride with 3 or 4 grown cubs. Stretch takes our party as close as he dares, but then one of the females startles us with an almighty roar.
Okay, you settle down, girl. Settle down. Yeah, she's calming down.
That was a pretty scary situation. A female lion just came out of nowhere. Obviously, we got too close too fast. We follow them for a while longer, but eventually the heat becomes too much and the pride settles down under a tree to sleep off the rest of the day. No action here, and we can't get too close, so we head back to camp. The next morning, we're getting ready to leave, when suddenly a pride of lions wanders right up to the camp. There's a lion right in camp, it's here. The whole pride coming to the camp. There's about about 6 or 7 of them right each. It's actually quite dangerous. I mean, if they came in here, we'd be breakfast. Ruben, with gun in hand, cautiously takes us closer to the pride. While I snap a few good shots, I figure this is as close as I'm ever gonna get to fully grown wild lions on foot. I now head to Antelope Park, where they coordinate a lion reintroduction program with a conservation trust called Alert, aimed at rebuilding lion populations in the wild. Dan Matthews, a senior project manager, explains the pilot program.
And the idea is that these lion cubs will grow up and be released into the wild. Is that the plan?
Not these guys, but their cubs.
Okay.
Because any lion that actually has human contact can never be released into the wild.
I see.
Because you will just add to the human-animal conflict. So the plan is these guys will come on walks to get used to the bush, the natural smells and surroundings, and come and practice hunting, learning from their mistakes. When they're old enough, they'll be put into a semi-wild environment in a pride structure. They will have cubs, raise those cubs, and it will be those cubs that are released into the wild one day.
It's a rare privilege to be able to get so close to lion cubs like this.
These beautiful little cubs here, so cute and furry. It's easy to forget that they'll grow up to be very powerful female lionesses, which can weigh up to about 180 kgs. They can run about 48 kilometers per hour and hunt animals much bigger than themselves.
While lions are not on the IUCN's critically endangered list just yet, it's estimated that 80 to 90% of African lions have been lost since 1975.
Beautiful shot. Perfect light. So we're here in stage 2 of the alert program, which is a fenced 6 square kilometer enclosure where they put the older lions. Now, they don't feed these lions. They let the lions come in here and hunt the game for themselves. And the hope is that the cubs from these lions will eventually be released into the wild into stage 3 of the alert program.
Jonathan Connolly, GM at Antelope Park, takes me out to meet a fully grown semi-wild lion and tells me why lions are so vulnerable.
Lions can only have so many cubs, but a hyena or wild dog or jackals, those guys can have up to like a dozen pups. And also because I think natural spaces are just shrinking so much, national parks and stuff.
So Savuti is a tame animal or a wild animal?
A lion is always wild. They're never tame.
So there's always a little bit of danger when we're walking with that.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's a lion, so yeah, there's always an element of danger.
I'm not entirely convinced that walking with a grown male lion is safe, but we head off anyway. I'm trying to contain my nervousness. No matter how habituated they might appear, lions are in essence highly unpredictable. While Jonathan seems at home next to such powerful creatures, I'm simply awed by their sheer size and presence. As yet, no lions have been successfully reintroduced into the wild. Some conservationists argue that resources would be better spent protecting existing lion populations and reducing human-wildlife conflict at the source. Other NGOs focus more on trying to stop the lions getting killed in the first place. Join me in part 2 as I head to Kenya to find out how tribes like the Maasai are being compensated to live alongside the king of beasts. I'm on a journey to raise awareness about the endangered wildlife trade and raise much needed funds through my Project Sea Change exhibition for NGOs fighting a worsening poaching and wildlife crisis in Africa. There once roamed 500,000 lions across Africa. Now, some estimates put that number between 15 and 25,000 as trophy hunting and human-wildlife conflict take their toll on this iconic species. In Zimbabwe, I saw how conservationists are trying to reintroduce captive lions into the wild. Now I'm in Kenya to see what the Big Life Foundation is doing to protect lions by turning their once mortal enemies into their guardians. The Maasai, perhaps Kenya's most famous tribe, used to hunt lions as a rite of passage.
The culture demands that for you to be a real man, it's like an initiation process. You have to kill a lion.
Not only that, when lions get hungry, they often kill Maasai livestock. A cow or a goat is an easy source of food.
If you lose a cow to predators, that means you've lost money. So what that means, whoever make you lose that money, you will have to pay for it. And that means retaliation.
Turning the clock back 30 years, when I first came here, lions were everywhere. We had good population of cheetah, hyena. It wasn't an issue.
But as human populations grow and settlements encroach further into wild areas, it's more often a case that tribes will kill lions to protect their livestock.
They speared them, and then poison crept into the scene, and 1 teaspoon will kill a whole pride of lion if you lace the carcass with it. So we saw whole prides getting wiped out, and the population over about 3 years just crashed.
To stop this killing, Big Life Foundation created the Predator Compensation Fund, which reimburses local tribesmen whose livestock are being killed by lions, but also cheetah and hyena.
Having this program in place, they now have realized that they can benefit from conserving these lions. A traditional chief came out very powerfully and told the peers that I don't want to see anybody participating in lion killing. There are lions killing cows and nobody's retaliating.
I'm heading for one of Big Life's ranger posts. With 31 stations scattered across a region covering 2 million acres, these outposts play a vital role in coordinating the Predator Compensation Fund, as well as anti-poaching activities. On the way, we come across our first big cats of the day, but not the cats you might think.
Look at that, we just got so close to these wild hyenas. That was amazing. They came running at us, and then we followed them down here, and they went underneath this little water tunnel and came out and popped their head out. I mean, these are full-grown hyenas. Now, hyenas are responsible for a lot of the livestock attacks here in the camp.
Many of the rangers employed by Big Life are actually Maasai tribesmen. With their incredible tracking skills, they make for excellent rangers and conservationists. I meet up with Patrick Solele, Big Life's project coordinator, who explains the pattern of lion attacks.
It depends on the season, especially during the wet season. It rains, and then all the prey species, they move outside the park. So the lions follow them there. So they start killing livestock during the wet season.
We get a call that 2 goats have been killed about 20 kilometers away, so we venture out with the Big Life team across some pretty inhospitable terrain to investigate. 2 young Maasai boys have lost their goats to hyenas. As they've reported the kill to Big Life, rangers are now here to verify the kill. The boys will later receive compensation, equivalent to around 2/3 of the dead livestock's market value.
There wasn't a Predator Compensation Fund.
Yeah.
Would he go out and kill the predator? Right, a hunt for the predator.
Hunt for the predator.
As a small token for the Maasai teenagers, we have a little portrait session. It's great to see them with a smile back on their faces. But this fairly straightforward initiative is having a real impact.
How has this specifically helped big cats?
Since the inception of this project, just a little number of predators have been killed through retaliation. So at least even you can see the number of lions has really increased. It's more than 100 lions.
More than 100?
Yeah, outside the protected area.
The Predator Compensation Fund has worked so well that the Kenyan government has now implemented it nationwide. I just hope that other governments in Africa can adopt the same community-driven conservation initiatives. We head back to camp, but on the way catch sight of a lone lioness on the horizon.
It's unusual to see a lioness like this walking by herself so far from the pride, and I'm told that that's because she could either be looking for a mate or she's just been with a mate and now she's trying to reunite with the rest of the pride, but it looks like she's a long way away.
We follow her as the moon rises. It's getting too dark now, and we leave the lioness in the knowledge that her fate here in Amboseli is much rosier than in the rest of Africa. Next, I visit one of Kenya's most celebrated national parks. I'm here in the Maasai Mara, home of the Maasai tribe and the biggest population of wild lions in Kenya. My base of explorations here is the sanctuary Olanana camp, right on the banks of the Mara River, where hippos and crocs abound. There's no time to waste. I'm off to visit a Maasai tribe who've learned to live alongside the lion. Tribal elder Julius acts as my interpreter and guide. I'm greeted by a traditional Maasai welcome, where the elders jump to show off their virility. So I have to prove my own manliness if I want to enter the village with my head held high. Apparently I passed the test with flying colors, and I'm decorated accordingly. The Maasai are pastoral nomads who live in makeshift bomas. Traditional Maasai lifestyle centers around their cattle, which constitutes their primary source of food and is also a measure of a man's wealth. It's clear from talking with the tribal elders that they show very little fear for the lions.
Traditionally, Maasai have to prove themselves by killing a lion to become a warrior. Has anyone here killed a lion before? You have? Right. How did you kill the lion? With a spear? When you killed the lion, were you scared? Not scared?
Not scared, yeah.
But do you respect the lion, or do you think that...
You don't respect.
You don't respect? Yeah. They're the enemy?
Yeah.
Right. Because they kill your livestock?
Yeah.
Inside the boma, the women and children give me a heartwarming welcome. Julius takes me into the center of the boma, where they keep their livestock safe.
Cows form the backbone of Maasai culture, right? Everything kind of revolves around livestock.
Yes, we have to use for cow, sheep and goat for milk, blood and meat.
Cattle are currency to the Maasai. Families and tribes often trade in cows and livestock when making deals, so any loss to predators such as lions is significant. For Maasai to stop killing lions in retaliation is a huge leap for conservation. The next day, I leave the confines of Sanctuary Olanana to go look for lions with veteran guide Lucas, who is himself of Maasai origin and has an incredible awareness of the wildlife. So far though, I haven't taken any decent shots of lions in the wild, and I'm getting a little bit worried. But then Lucas spots something.
Look at that, male and a female. Maybe they're honeymooners. And everybody's not happy. Look, none of them want to be dinner or lunch.
Lucas spotted these two lions in a bush from quite a way off, and we were very lucky to stumble across them. And we reckon they're about to mate or have been mating. It's just a question now of waiting and seeing if we get any action.
So everybody knows the presence of the lions now. Do you see that? All over. Some other animals might lead you into seeing something by seeing them watching one particular place.
It looks like the male is distracting the female, so she won't be able to hunt. No photos here. We move on. It's not that hard to find the lions, but in this 36-degree heat, to catch them doing anything interesting is proving very difficult indeed.
This is the marsh pride, who are apparently the dominant pride in this area. Lions sleep between 16 to 20 hours a day. So, contrary to what people think about going on safari, most of the time when you see lions, they're not doing much. They're just dozing and digesting the food from a hunt the night before. But it's quite a serene setting here with this lovely little tree and them sitting in the shade.
A favorite snack food for the lions is warthog. Warthogs are the comedy act of the Maasai Mara. Not the most beautiful creatures in Africa, and not the most intelligent either. They tend to forget where they are very quickly. We see this in action when we catch sight of some warthogs crossing right in front of a pride of lions. The lions perk up and take notice. Finally, we could be in for a lion hunt. That was a lucky escape for the warthog, but instead of fleeing, the warthogs decide to come back for an encore, showing off right in front of the lion pride and elephants.
Warthogs have my newfound respect because they are not only funny, but ridiculously dumb.
The lionesses are not amused apparently, and I haven't managed to get the photos I wanted. But in nature, there are never any guarantees. It's time for me to leave Kenya. Spending time with the Maasai and seeing how Big Life Foundation has engaged tribal communities to protect lions has left me inspired. I just hope that these kinds of initiatives can be replicated across Africa.
In 2014, January, the president signed into law a bill that now says the government will pay for all livestock killed by predators. They have realized if a private NGO can run a compensation program, then the government should also be able to do.
A mother can have 5-6 cubs, and if she can get 50% of them through every 18 months, populations can bounce back quickly.
I leave Kenya with two abiding images of the lion. The cubs being bred to be reintroduced back into the wild, and the lonely wild lioness walking into the night, her fate unknown. Both of their futures now depend on human guardianship to protect the dwindling lion populations that remain. Ultimately, lions just need space to roam free in the wild and not be hunted for sport. For the king of beasts, it's the least we can afford them. Next on Adventures to the Edge, 100 million sharks are killed every year, mostly for the shark's fin trade. To raise awareness, I traveled to the Philippines with actress and model Jennifer Dare to photograph her in a way that's never been done before, with the largest shark of them all, the whale shark.